Most people think healing should feel calming, right? Makes sense. Like once you're finally doing the work, you should feel lighter, clearer, totally blissful pretty right away. And sometimes that does happen. But often the first signs that something real is shifting in your nervous system do not feel good. They feel uncomfortable, messy, even destabilizing. I'm Danielle Rubio, Somatic Trauma Therapist and creator of the Soma Lumos method, and I help the cycle breakers of the world heal the trauma that's causing the chronic stress, the anxiety, using the power of the nervous system. So I want you to save this video for this sentence alone and even write this down because this is how critical this is. Band-aiding symptoms and actually healing are not the same thing. Band-aiding usually feels immediate. It feels linear, it feels rewarding, it feels like you did A and now you're getting B. But true healing often opens the very emotions, sensations, and truth that you've spent years pushing down just to function. So in this video, I want to walk you through 5 signs that you may actually be healing, even if what you're feeling right now is discomfort instead of relief. Because a lot of people stop right before the breakthrough, simply because they take this discomfort as regression. So stick around, especially because number 5 is really one of the most misunderstood signs of healing of all. So the first sign you may be healing is that you're starting to feel more. That means more sadness, more anger, more grief, more tenderness, more vulnerability, more sensation in your body. And I know at first this can feel really inconvenient because symptom band-aids are often about making the discomfort go away so you can keep on keeping on. But I'm sorry to break it to you that that's not true healing. When your nervous system starts to come out of survival mode, what was frozen, suppressed, numbed, bypassed, overridden, or intellectualized can begin to rise to the surface. You're not getting worse, and the practices you're doing are indeed working. This is all a sign that your body may finally feel safe enough to let you know what has been there all along. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that you've got to be with everything that's been hidden in order to truly, truly heal. This is one of the biggest reasons I think that people think that the healing isn't working. They may say, why am I crying more? Why am I suddenly feeling things that I thought had already passed? Why does this all feel so raw? And it's because you're not numbing anymore. And as long as you're still numbing, you're never going to fully heal. So numbing is not the same as healing. And you're never going to truly be free if you continue to band-aid everything instead of facing it. And if you've had this conscious or subconscious belief that healing should make you feel better immediately, then this number 1 sign alone can completely throw you off. The second sign is that things you used to rely on to regulate or escape don't hit the same anymore. So the overworking, the overthinking, the over-explaining, the doom scrolling, the numbing out, people pleasing, staying busy, trying to be good. At first, this can feel uncomfortable because these patterns weren't random. They were intelligent adaptations. They helped you avoid overwhelm. They helped you avoid helplessness, rejection, grief, shame, uncertainty. So when these coping strategies start losing their grip, there can be a weird in-between phase where your old way is no longer feeling good, but your system has not fully stabilized in the new way yet. And that liminal space can feel frustrating, like, why can't I just do what used to work? Think of it as a gift from your life, as a gift from your future self, not letting old tricks work anymore because you're meant to actually meet your highest, most powerful future self. Part of you know it was never truly working. It was just helping you survive in the moment. And healing often includes this, where the false comfort starts to break down before deeper steadiness is fully built. Trust me that you're on your way to transition, to transformation, if this is resonating. All right, the third sign is that you become less available for what once felt normal. This was such a big one for me. Absolutely, this was huge. This was an absolute huge one for me, and it definitely does not feel nice. Certain relationships start feeling heavier. Self-abandonment becomes harder and harder to stomach. Chronic over-explaining feels exhausting in a new way. Your body pushes back harder when you're overriding your truth. This can be super uncomfortable because as you heal, your threshold changes. So things that once felt familiar now feel really dysregulating. You're going to start to notice less tolerance for chaos, less patience for performative connections or shallow connections, ability to betray your own needs to keep the peace. That's out. More body tension after saying yes when you meant to say no. A lot of people think this means that they're becoming difficult or they're becoming sensitive or they're becoming too much, but it's often the total opposite. It means your body is becoming more honest. And honestly, this feels disruptive when your old identity was built around accommodation. So remember that healing is much less about feeling calmer, and it's so much more about becoming less willing to live in ways that cost you your truth, that cost you your peace. Think of it like you need to shed all the old ways in order to fully meet your future self. You have to shed that old skin to grow the new you. Now, the next one is where many people think they've totally regressed. The fourth sign is that your healing does not feel linear. You have a few good days, then a hard day, then a breakthrough, then a collapse, then something old gets triggered again, and you eventually start to respond differently, but there's a lot of all over the place. In the middle is where people can start to panic, because before, when you were band-aiding symptoms, you received this immediate, measurable payoff. Like I mentioned before, you would do the thing, then feel better, and there's your temporary relief until you have to whack-a-mole the next thing. But real healing is not that clean. Why? Because you're not trying to silence symptoms for a moment. You are helping your nervous system become more capable of meeting life without defaulting into the same protective patterns. That kind of healing happens in layers. You revisit familiar material from a different level of capacity. You may still get triggered, but you're going to come back faster. You may still feel fear, but it's not going to own you. You may still wobble, but you recover with more awareness and less shame. This is the true healing path. Not the absence of activation, but a new relationship to it. And I want to say that again, because you need to save this for the rest of your life. Healing is not the absence of activation, but a new relationship to it. So without further ado, the fifth sign, one of the most uncomfortable and one of the most sacred, you no longer convincingly pretend you're fine. You can't even convince yourself. You start to realize the life you built from survival doesn't actually feel good in your body. You start to realize that you're often living only from the neck up. You're stuck in your head. You start to see how much energy has gone into holding it all together, performing wellness, being strong, being low maintenance, being productive, being fine. And once the awareness wakes up, it gets really hard to go back to sleep. This can feel destabilizing because healing doesn't necessarily mean you're soothing yourself, right? This feels destabilizing because healing doesn't look like you're going to be soothed every single time. But what it is going to do every single time is it's going to reveal. It reveals the cost of disconnection. It reveals where you've abandoned yourself. It reveals what your body has been trying to say beneath all the noise. And while that can feel deeply uncomfortable, it's also where your life starts becoming more real, not curated, not managed, not polished, real. And from that place, you can actually build something honest. You build real regulation. You build real capacity. You build real self-trust, real peace. Not the kind that's coming from controlling every single variable in your life. It's the peace that comes from no longer being at war with your own experience. You actually trust yourself to be able to surf any wave life throws your way. So if your healing feels messier than you expected, I want you to hear this clearly. Discomfort does not automatically mean something's wrong. Discomfort is the nervous system loosening old armor. Sometimes it is grief finally moving. Sometimes it's your body learning safety after years of embracing. Sometimes it's the collapse of strategies that helped you survive before, but can no longer carry the place that you're going, this place of true healing. Something I tell my clients all the time is that when you're truly healing, all of your old strategies dismantle, and that's gonna leave you feeling vulnerable. But I promise that the more you continue on the path and you don't sabotage your own healing, you're gonna see that in place of these old armors is your true integration with life itself. Your true power surfaces. Symptom relief has its place, but symptom relief is not the same thing as transformation. If what you want is not just a moment of calm, but a nervous system that actually knows how to meet life fully, head on, meet it unshakable, then the path will not always feel instantly gratifying. But it will, however, make you whole and eventually so in your peace that you can't even try to create coping mechanisms anymore. You're truly in the force and frequency of always on clarity peace. So if this video hit something real for you, let me know in the comments, which of these signs have you experienced most lately? And if you know someone who is in that in-between place of healing and it feels messy and they think they're doing it wrong, then send this to them. They may need this reminder more than you realize. And if you're ready to stop chasing temporary relief and actually start helping your nervous system learn safety from the inside out, my course, Rewire to Rise, was made exactly for this. It's a body-based nervous system healing course that helps you move out of survival mode and build a real capacity, not just short-lived calm. So if you're tired of band-aiding symptoms and you're ready for true change and true peace, I'll put a link in the description. For the price of a couple of meals, you can trade your anxious, stuck, and exhausted mode of operation for clear, steady, free, and at ease. Until next time.